Oh my god, ladies and gentlemen, guess what day it is? It's Tuesday, October 7th, 2014, and welcome to Day 9 Daily, episode 729, where we learn to be a better gamer. In today's episode, we destroy the microphone. Jesus. Stay. I hope you can still hear me. Check. Okay, check. Good. In today's daily, we're going to learn about Terran vs. Protoss from Cure. Let me explain what makes this so sweet, so suave, so sexy indeed. Most of the time, TvP is roughly the same beast again and again and again and again in those first 12-minute period. It's doing whatever, expanding, then going 3 racks Marauder Marine with medevacs, expanding to a third relatively quickly, and then Vikings and Ghosts and whatever, oh my. What we're going to see from Cure is a simple change. Getting barracks 4 and 5 first. But it winds up just dumping out a completely different mid and late game. You get to be so aggressive. Oh my god, where did my headphones go even? Here they are. I just realized I need to be able to hear the damn game. He's going to be so aggressive with his early barracks that it opens up a whole new set of weird windows. So in today's show, we're going to do 3 things. Talk about what the hell the interesting opening is and contrast it to a normal play. We're going to learn what the hell the consequences of this are. And we're going to see a little bit of micro management. I don't know what this is, but it's a thing. We're going to learn a little bit about micro as well. See how he does it. I'm plugging in. Oh, never mind. I see why. I wasn't hearing anything. It's because I had my speakers turned off. Thought it was because it was quiet. Never mind. Okay, now, in case any of you are doing this as well, I decided I was just finishing dinner. I'm going to be having a Blue Moon. This is the same set of drinks that I got yesterday when I was doing mostly walking. Love to have for me a nice relaxing beer during the show. Very excited. Very thrilled. Also, I apologize for any of the noises behind me. The dishwasher's going, which is great because if I have to be the one responsible for cleaning my dishes, it's a liability. But it makes crazy noises all the time, so you can hear it chugging and going crazy all the time. So Half-Life 3 confirmed, Hearthstone tomorrow. Actually, probably going to play Hearthstone on my day off on Friday. We're going to do DreamHack Stockholm on Thursday. Notice how I did that, all out of order. Let's go into the game. Boom! StarCraft 2 dailies were impossible for a brief period. Why? Oh, there's the noise. There's the noise. I was wondering where the noise was. Yeah, StarCraft 2 Daily has been impossible for a while due to the fact that the replay system didn't work properly. You literally could not open up any replays, which was kind of a suck-ass, but that's okay. It was just for a week, so no big deal. We're watching this game. We got cured down in the bottom side. So, again to emphasize, here's the way that most Terran players are thinking about this. Most Terran players, when they look at the map, a Protoss player who's going to be taking his second base will be leaning towards third and chilling between 10 and 14 minutes. Leaning between chilling between 10 and 14 minutes. Let me even come back to my important face. 10 to 14 minutes is the time when Terrans get to attack and Protosses kind of feel like they have to defend. I've talked about this so many times. Let's make it 10 to 15 minutes. Fuck it. 10 to 15 minutes just because we can only deal with round even multiples of 5 in America. Between 10 to 15 minutes, that's when the Terran gets the opportunity to attack, and the Protoss are generally defending. Why are the Protosses generally defending? Well, because they... excuse me. I hope this isn't too quiet for you. For some reason, it's all quiet for me. Whatever. Protosses generally have been getting up just enough tech to hang on. They're getting their Colossus up. They don't quite have enough units to cover everything, so they get blink. Everything's a little tricky for Protoss during that 10 to 15 minute period. It's also when Terran generally has medevacs, so the Protoss needs to cover their main base. The medevacs alone are really the #1 reason why Protoss has to be on the back foot. Protoss doesn't have the tech. Terrans have the medevac. Oh, excuse me. Protosses don't have the army size, but Terrans have the medevac. So what we generally see, Terrans do up to this point, or excuse me, up to the between the 10 and 15 minute mark, is the Terrans go, okay, cool, I'm going to be hitting you between 10 and 15, and while that's going on, I'm going to be expanding. I'm going to be getting another engineering bay. I'm going to be getting a second starport with Vikings. Terrans kind of treat it as a comfort zone for themselves. Most Terrans are like, alright, well sweet, if you can't attack me, then I'm just going to cut all the corners in the world, and we tend not to see the barracks count get very high. We tend not to see too much other than powering related things. So what I've done is I've created a very important document. It is called math.notepad. Let me go ahead and go to font. Let's make it size 29. Can I do size 29 font? Boom. Okay, here is math. Okay, let's compute the effect of a barracks. Okay. So here is the time. Here is the unit count. What am I doing? Let's say at time t equals 0, or let me barracks start. Racks start. Do I need a tab again? No, this is cool. So your barracks begins. A barracks takes functionally 60 seconds. All buildings in StarCraft take about 60. I know some are 65 and 50 and whatnot, but we're just going to round it. But cool, we have nothing after 1 minute. So if we get a tech lab here, then at 90 seconds, we still have nothing, because a tech lab is about 30 seconds. So only at 120 seconds do we have 1 Marauder from this. And then Marauders and Marines are both about 30. I mean, look at this. It's 25 seconds and 30 seconds. No big deal. We'll just round. So if we do 3 minutes after, we have 3 Marauders. Oops. Sorry, there's no spell check in this. Oh, how embarrassing. 240. Actually, let me put these into clear delineations. Okay, so what is all this that I'm looking at? It says that if we start a barracks, 4 minutes after I started that puppy, I've only gotten 5 Marauders. It's even worse if we do it with a reactor. Joink. Boop. If we do it with a reactor, okay, so at time t equals 0, when we start it, we don't have anything. At time 60, we get a reactor. Yak. And we still have 0. I'll do this. Okay, at 2 min, we still have 0. And then at 3 minutes, this is where we start to get some Marines getting pumped out. We can build them 2 at a time. I think you're starting to get the idea. That, in my eyes, it's about 4 minutes before a barracks actually gets started. Now, obviously, you can cut off, or you can accelerate this timetable by a minute if you have another structure, build the add-ons. But I still want to pound this into your head, that if you go for the standard Terran style, where you have 3 racks, you expand, and then you place down your barracks at around 10 minutes. Well, 4 minutes later, you're at the 14-minute mark. And only at the 14-minute mark are you really feeling the nice, juicy effect of those barracks. Okay. And in fact, about 2 to 3 minutes in, you're starting to get some effect from it. But, I mean, even with this reactor barrack, you really don't get anything after 2 minutes. So, what we're going to see Cure do in this game is an opening where he's going for these 5 racks styles very fast. Normally, actually, for some players, these the barracks 4 and 5 even go down at like 11 minutes, quite late. So Cure is going to be drilling his all into this vulnerable time for Protoss. So what we're seeing out of Cure is a pretty typical opening. He's going for Reaper fast, just to get his scouting done. He has a reactor, he has 1 dude mining gas, he's getting a 2nd refinery. And I've told you the concept of this. Go for 5 racks quickly.
Add-on complete.
But I will emphasize that this is not an elegant, beautiful build by any means. Generally, when these Marines get started, this is when 3 should be back in gas. I'm convinced this is a misclick. It really should be when these guys get started. So I want to note that this is not an elegant, clean, beautiful, crisply done build where everything lines up nicely. A mothership core darts cross map and everything goes to shit real fast. There should be an add-on going down for Cure. There's not. Cure will accidentally build 2 factories in a second. So for any of you who are watching this and thinking, ooh, this is a extremely strict build order that we're learning today, absolutely not. It is the concept of drilling Protoss hard between 10 and 15 with all you got. So we still see no add-on. This mothership core is being a real pain. And there's usual defenses going up. So we're going to spend a little bit of time hanging out in Cure's base. Again, he has 2 guys in the gas, whoopsie daisies. The Reaper is still scouting in. So if you're an experienced player, you're going to have no problem controlling this Reaper, but if you're new, don't worry about it. Send the Reaper to somewhere simple, like here. Focus on your build order back home. Make the build as hard for yourself as you want. Alright, cool. So we see Cure has managed to get probe kills. That is not the purpose at all of this Reaper. Here's something, for instance, that we're noticing. Hey, this Reaper went into the front, and he didn't see anything. If you go into the front and you don't really see that much, for God's sake, don't put all your Marines at the front of your base. You already can see anything coming at you. So right now, this Reaper has full knowledge of anything that would be wanting to move this way. So that means that these Marines right here can go into better positions that are safer. Again, this is one of the most important aspects to this Reaper guy. He's spotting at the front, so don't put your Marines at the front of your base. 1 at the front is great for killing off probes, but I love these rallies from Cure. We see no Marauders from Cure yet, only Marines. We see him swiftly getting a factory. When? Whenever he can afford it. And then, as he's building Marines, after the factory is down, we see this engineering bay. Now, I want to emphasize again, what is the purpose of Cure's build? To drill the Protoss hard between 10 and 15 minutes. So, faster factory means faster medevac. +1, Upgrades are not really as important for Cure when compared to a more older school Protoss, where you would see double engineering bay, or that sort of thing. See, here's a 2nd factory. Believe it or not, you don't need 2 factories for this build to work. He'll notice soon enough. So I think a pretty typical timing is when you start this factory, start this 2nd gas, and when you start the starport, start this 3rd gas. 1 gas per major structure is pretty easy timing. Come on, Cure, do it, build the thing. Remember how I said, oops, he has 2 in gas, that's gotta be a mistake? Notice that there's not quite enough gas here. Anyways. So, remember how I said that this is not an elegant build? Look at this. Cure's getting slammed, man. He is losing all sorts of stuff. Units lost tab, ugh. Workers getting lost, Marines getting lost. No big deal. Getting a 3rd barracks, getting the relatively fast starport, getting almost supply blocked. And remember, 3rd gas right around the time of the 3rd starport. Now, here is where we begin to do different things. I've been talking a lot about this 10 to 15 minute mark, and if you've been looking at the game and trying to listen to me, and you're not very experienced, you're probably getting overloaded, because you're watching the Reaper, and I'm talking about something that isn't the Reaper. So, this is the part in the game where we can just stop and make sure that we are on the same page concretely. What normally happens right around 8:45 or 9, right in that period of time, you tend to have enough money-ish to get an extra command center, or to do something of note. If you got messed with, your money's going to be a little bit lower. Those 2 SCVs that were killed early is going to at least make 100 mineral difference. So yeah, great. Right around now is the key decision point for Terran. So to stress what I said earlier, Terran players get their medevacs out, they use these 3 barracks to build dudes, and then they apply pressure to the Protoss base. And this is when the Terran is like, oh nice, I'm going to get my 3rd up. Oh nice, I'm going to get a 2nd engineering bay. Terran players like to do more genteel things back home instead of attacking. Let's watch what Cure does. First things first, 4th gas fast. Why on earth would you want a 4th geyser so early? This is somewhat unusual. Many times players will delay this much longer. But Cure is actually going to make use of this factory to build Widow Mines, and going to be building extra barracks, and Marauders take gas. And he's going to be building lots of medevacs. You'll notice that medevacs, well actually I can't show it here, but medevacs and Vikings have the same build time. And Cure is going to be favoring medevacs.
Research complete.
So those medevacs are going to be burning a poop load of gas.
Our SCVs are under attack.
Still getting harassed. It's very annoying. It's very annoying. See, look at this money. Right around 8:45, if you haven't been messed with a little while longer, this is when the Terran players love to get up DOS command center. But what are we going to see out of Cure? If you said barracks, then you're right, because I said barracks earlier on here. There's the money. Come on, do something with it, Cure. Do something, Cure. You have the money. I have the belief. He should really be building it right now. That's pretty bad. Okay. Come on. There we go. There's the 2 extra barracks. So in a typical Terran vs. Protoss, these barracks would be delayed. In a typical Terran vs. Protoss, a command center would go down first. The focus on the 3rd would be the primary one. These would be delayed by a minute or 2. But here Cure is getting them immediately. I don't want to dwell too much on the exact timing of this because it could get messed with early, so this is going to be delayed. He's doing his best. But another cute little thing, this factory that's building the reactor, oftentimes you'll see a factory build a reactor for the barracks. This is a factory that is going to use its reactor on itself to churn out tons and tons of Widow Mines. We see little moves from Cure. He is rallying everything out immediately to apply pressure. Why? Because he saw an Oracle. If Cure has seen nothing, he's going to wait for the medevacs. If he sees DTs, or an Oracle, or, what are other little dirtily doofy harassment things? I don't know, Phoenixes. If he sees some sort of harassment that would be different from a big, scary gateway, or even robo army, yeah, you bet your ass he's going to be moving out. And this is because Cure is trying to deal as much damage as he humanly possibly can. Again, the concept is to attack lots. Lots and lots and lots and lots. To build lots and lots and lots and lots. Something that's a sort of hidden benefit of this. This is one of the weirdest things ever that happens with aggressive builds. Specifically for Terran, it works really nicely. If you get a lot of barracks, you have more units to be able to attack. But you need to make sure that you have enough money to support 5 barracks, and a starport, and a factory. If you lose units, you don't have to build supply depots. Yeah! This is part of the reason that this crazy style works. Because Cure has a good army, he's going to lose some of it, but he can pump out way more stuff than the average Terran because he doesn't have to build depots. We're at 90 of 94 supply. We're going to be glancing back at that every now and again. Stims forward with Marines. Notice that he sends a few forward and back, so that way he can never run the risk of getting overly force fielded. Like that. This will never be the first move. And we see some really nice pickups. 84 of 94. Who needs depots, baby? Pumping it all out. So everything that Cure has been building right now has been out of his first few barracks. Just out of these. These barracks are about to finish up. This factory's pumping stuff out. I think we don't have any Widow Mines. The Widow Mines I'm holding off on explaining. But, Cure right now is going to be in one of a couple situations. He might be against Colossus. He might be against Templar. Against Templar, Cure is going to just drill the front. Never underestimate the strength of this tight choke in this micro. Cure is just relentless at shoving at the front, and who cares if there's a photon overcharge? There's no Storm. Storm's only just getting started. And what I want you to see also is that many people just have the whole damn group selected, and they just kite it all together. You'll often see Cure just doing little tiny moves with a couple of things at the front. Here I think it's no problem to just use it as a big old group, no big deal. But look at Cure getting 2 tech labs. I think that this was a slight accident. I feel like this should be a reactor right now. Either way, I think the important point is that he has 5 barracks, because we'll see him do slightly different things. Notice how when his aggression pops off, this is when he has to build supply depots. But for a little while, he didn't have to. Okay, so here's another cool micro technique. How do you apply maximum pressure to a player? Well, you can do 2-pronged attacks, but the best Protosses in the world, or more importantly, Protosses on the North American ladder, ding! Protosses are getting pretty good at splitting their armies up. So watch this. This is a very nice, subtle move that Cure is doing here. Most people don't go for mine drops in late game because, I don't know, they just don't. Most people rush for mine drops to try to beat a player who has not gotten detection. But in late game, many people just say, oh, yeah, you probably have detection. I don't want to do this. What's nice about this sort of drop is that this drop applies almost as much pressure as a full medevac. In particular, all the probes are actually trying to run away. So what did we invest? 1 medevac, and 1 mine. And our main army gets to have the same strength. If you think that you're going to be able to break the front, just drop 1 old mine, man. Just 1. And then this gives Cure a nice tactical edge to just pop right in here and do some slaying. Now, if you're looking at the supply counts, you're seeing Cure in a real good shape. I mean, he's just trucking through this. And in particular, mines are amazing against Zealots, so that's one of the great reasons to build them, is just cleans up Zealot compositions. Cure's going to eat some Storms, no big deal. He's making a lot of Marauders and some Marines as well, just for general reinforcement. And as we look around here, I will note 2 things. 4th gas was built early. Look at that gas count. Stayed low the whole time. Also, money doesn't come out of thin air, so what is something that is being cut? Upgrades. Cure's getting an armory, but he is not getting a 2nd engineering bay. He's just pumping off 1, baby. So I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, this is a good place to do some stopping. So we have looked at this pretty slowly and emphasized one thing across the board. Protosses tend to be vulnerable between the 10 and 15 minute mark. When medevacs are out, Protosses are on the back foot trying to build up back home. We're seeing here already, we are 13 minutes into this game. We are in the thick of when Protoss are feeling uncomfortable. We've already built 6 medevacs and 1 died. We have a huge amount of production, churning out more than what a normal player would. We even have Widow Mines coming out. The damage potential that Cure is dealing with is astounding. What do we see out of Protoss? Pretty small fare. A relatively tiny amount. I mean, we see a huge number of gateways, and look at the cooldowns on all of them. All of these are being used to warp in stuff as fast as possible. This is where you can get an edge, and Cure says, cool, I'm going to take that to the fullest extreme and get the mega edge. We also saw some cool micro tricks, but again, the whole thesis of Cure's play is drill as hard as you can between 10 and 15. So when we come back, we're going to look at things starting to go wrong for Cure and some of the niceties of being on 2 bases at this point, and we'll see how Cure plays it out and some of the opportunities that arise because he has been so aggressive and is against a 1.2 base Protoss. Stay tuned!